All right, Nick Bosa remains unsigned. What is the latest? We hit that next here on the Krug Show. But first, a word from our sponsor, or a word about our sponsor, Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Well, Nick Bosa has held out for over a month. He's the 49ers' best defensive player. He's coming off a year where he was the defensive player of the year. He had 18 and a half sacks. He's clearly the 49ers' best player on defense. And, John Lynch was asked about it, and he said, he was asked, are you concerned? He said, concern's a relative word. I don't like the situation. Since our tenure here, we haven't had a holdout anywhere toward this magnitude. So not something I'm comfortable with. We're working really hard to try to change that. We're in good communication with his reps. He's a special player. He's going to get a special contract, I can tell you that. But yeah, we're getting closer and eager to bring this to a close. But I think I'll leave it at that. We've talked from the beginning, Nick and myself and his representatives, about let's keep this thing in-house. So we'll continue to do that and just know that we're working diligently to try to bring it to a close. And, of course, the Niners want to get this done as soon as they possibly can. They open the season September 10th at Heinz Field, or the stadium it used to be known as Heinz Field, against a very good Pittsburgh Steelers team that has a great record of winning week one, especially at home, since Mike Tomlin has been the head coach. So the 49ers badly need Nick Bosa. Why? Because their entire defense is predicated on their front line getting a lot of rush. So if you don't have Nick Bosa, who starts? Cleveland Farrell? That's a major, major step down from Nick Bosa. The Niners' number one line is Bosa, Drake Jackson on the ends, Eric Armstead, and Javon Hargrave inside. That number one line might be the best in pro football, but without Bosa, it's not nearly as good. And when you look at the 49ers on paper, the one thing that's really abundantly clear is they don't have the same defensive end depth that they had a year ago when they had Charles Omenihu and Jordan Willis and Samson Ebukam. All three of those guys were contributors. In fact, that trio played 91 snaps on average in their three playoff games against Seattle, Philly, and Dallas. So they can only play their ones so much. They have to play their backup defensive ends. And their backup defensive ends have not shined this summer. They have replacements for the guys they lost, but they're not nearly as good. Kerry Hyder is probably more of a combo tackle end. And he's got a great motor. He'll play as hard as he possibly can, but he lacks that speed to bend the edge. Robert Beal is the other end of the extremes. He's got the incredible speed to bend the edge, sub 4.5. He can really cook off the edge, but he's been hurt. He's had a hamstring injury. I think his motor kind of goes hot and cold. What I saw from Beal this summer was an incredibly talented edge rusher who at times looks like he's going about 3/4 speed. So what else you got? You got Austin Bryant, who comes over from Detroit. He's got long arms, but he's kind of hit and miss. Some days he's good, some days he's not good. You've got Alex Barrett, but he's been on the practice squad the last couple of years. I mean, that's a major, major step down. And then, you had Taco Charlton. He's now done for the year on IR and has been released off of IR. You brought in Dalen Hayes. He can't do the job. You got Breeland Speaks. He's not going to be on the roster. So the 49ers may have to go outside their own organization for defensive end depth. There's going to be some good players cut at the deadline for sure. To me, one of the guys to keep your eye on is Tyrus Wheat, who is in Dallas's camp. Dallas is a really deep edge rusher group, and Wheat was an undrafted free agent out of Mississippi State. 6'2", about 265 pounds, and he's a good pass rusher. I really liked him in the SEC the last couple of years. He's not a world beater, but he's better than what the Niners have. So I don't know. To me, this is a major, major question for the 49ers. The defensive line is where they try to get everything done up front. They need defensive end depth in addition to Bosa, and that's if they have Bosa. Without Bosa, they really need some help. Now, are they going to get any? There's always the ability to trade for somebody at the cut down. There's a number of interesting defensive ends. Melvin Ingram's still out there as a free agent. Jason Pierre-Paul is still out there as a free agent. Alton Robinson is still out there as a free agent. There's a number of defensive ends. If you look around the league, there's a number of defensive ends that potentially could be available via trade, and maybe they'll have to go that route. I mean, that might be the route they go, is they might have to go into the trade market and look for somebody that can help them who's on a different roster. I mean, that's kind of where we're at as far as the 49ers. They don't have – there's not tons of internal options. And, as far as the cut down goes, it's going to be interesting to see who's available. And then it's like, what's left? What's left if you don't go that direction? Well, you might be able to trade for any number of veteran guys. Now, who is out there that's a veteran defensive end? New England has Dietrich Wise, who had 24.5 sacks over the last 6 years, 7.5 last year. He's got 2 years left on his deal. There's some talk that Dietrich Wise could be available. The Jets have a really deep defensive end group. Carl Lawson could be available. Maybe Bryce Huff. There's talk out of Green Bay that Rashawn Gary might get traded. He tore his ACL last year. He only had 6 sacks in 9 games, but he's had 20.5 sacks over the last 3 seasons. Green Bay has Preston Smith. They've got Lucas Van Ness. They've got Devontae Wyatt. They've got Carl Brooks. Maybe they'd move Rashawn Gary. Chase Young, Montez Sweat from Washington, Andrew Van Ginkel from Miami, Jerry Hughes from Houston, Clavon Chason from Jacksonville, Romeo Okwara from Detroit, Shaq Barrett from Tampa, Yatir Gross-Matos from Carolina. These are just a few of the options that could be out there trade-wise for the 49ers at the cutdown. So I don't know what they're going to do with Nick Bosa. I think Bosa's definitely in shape, but is it really defensive end shape? I mean, is he in this backyard running figure eights and hoops and doing all these D-line drills? Maybe. I mean, God knows he knows what they are. I don't have any doubt that he'll be in shape. I don't know if he'll be in football shape. How many snaps can he play week 1? To me, this thing has to come together in the next 72 hours, or the 49ers may have to look at picking up somebody else for week 1 just to plug in without Bosa. They're going to miss that outside pass rush against Kenny Pickett. So a lot to factor in. John Lynch, was asked last on Friday night if he felt like Bosa, if he would get that Bosa deal done before week 1. He said he thought he would. So, I'll take him at his word. They better get it going here in the next 72 hours. I think in an ideal world, you'd want Nick Bosa to have 2 or 3 or 4 at least padded practices so he could shake off the rust and before Niners-Steelers go in week 1. But it's something to watch for sure. I think he's going to get record money. That means over $33 million per year. That's going to mean probably over $100 million guaranteed. But it's just, I don't know what he's asking for, and I don't know what the Niners are offering. I would say this: if it doesn't get done in the next 72 hours, I'm going to be a whole lot more nervous than I am right now. All right. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.